Hello, people. How's it going? Welcome to the stream. Welcome. Champions League. The first round is over. Atletico Madrid won. Arsenal, well, won. And you could argue that Arsenal could have won. You could also argue Arsenal could have lost the game, or maybe should have lost the game. So basically, it goes both ways. Let's just put it that way because first half, I'm not gonna lie, it was a pleasure to watch. The first half actually was somewhat controlled, somewhat decent. Arsenal played a decent game, and everything was, well, hopeful. Let's just put it that way. The second half, on the other hand, that's where for very long times we sat back, invited the pressure, and well, the usual stuff happened. Everything almost went down the drain. Let's just put it that way. So it was definitely, second half was shocking, first half was amazing, and it's very weird. And that has been the trademark for the whole season, to be honest, with Arsenal, that the first half they can one half of the game, not just the first half, maybe the second half sometimes, but the one half of the two they can play actually very good. The second half they just disappeared, they're shambles, and it's looking very, very sad and very boring. Let's just put it that way. So you could argue that we are lucky that it is a draw. At the same time, we are very unlucky because we got robbed of a penalty. So we're going to talk about all that. Obviously, we're going to talk about Arteta, and two next home games are massive. Fulham at home and, of course, Atletico Madrid as well. So we're going to touch upon that as well, and it was clearly a penalty as well. So everything will be up for discussion today. So people, smash the like, subscribe if you're new, and, of course, leave your thoughts down in the live chat. Big up Mubarak, big up. Arsenal got dropped. It happens usually, even if Premier League referees always apologize to Arsenal. And that it's the nuts part. Everyone says Premier League referees are so bad, then you expect from Champions League referees higher quality. And usually that is the case. But somehow yesterday, for that specific situation and stuff like that, these referees just went, well, Premier League refs, hold my beer. I can do worse than you can. And it's very, 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 very weird situation. It's very annoying situation. And for me, it was a penalty without shadow of a doubt, as I got the ball first, then he got kicked in the leg. Obviously, he slipped at the same time a tiny bit, which continued in a motion that it looked like he slipped fully. So maybe that's why it wasn't given. I don't even know, to be honest. It was a very weird decision by the referee. It was a weird situation. So it's going to be interesting to see how everything goes. If we had just attacked and scored goals to win, but it's always like that, isn't it? Big up, Junior, big up. I thought Gyökeres was standing in the first half, and then we subbed him. Yeah, well, it's Arteta. What did you expect? He much rather play with Gabriel Jesus for some weird goddamn reason, who, well, basically does nothing on the pitch at this stage, than actually Gyökeres, who poses a constant threat to the goal. Like, I don't know. It's generally actually insane. I can only assume the rest of the Saturday afternoon, I guess. Yeah, it will be interesting to see what's going to happen on Saturday. It's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen Saturday against Fulham, because this is now a situation where it's a 50-50, and Arsenal are going for the league, Arsenal going for Champions League. Both games kind of required the best 11s possible, especially with Fulham fighting for Europe, being just a few points away from top 6. So definitely it's going to be a rough one. Obviously. Disgusting. It wasn't as bad. It definitely was not as bad as you're saying. Let's just put it that way. The second half was really shocking play for the whole team. Couldn't keep control or launch any kind of attack. Yeah, and that is the biggest issue here. That is the biggest issue, because Arsenal can string one half together. They cannot string two. And in these type of games, in these type of situations, and at this stage of the season, of the tournament, you kind of have to be able to put actually good performance of the full 90. Because first half, Declan Rice was phenomenal. And Gyökeres was fantastic. Second half, everything dropped. Performance, I don't know, focus or what. Atletico Madrid could have gone 3-4-1 up. And it was actually weird. And that is, for me, the biggest worry. Obviously, Arsenal still haven't lost this season in Champions League. And last time we hadn't lost in the Champions League. We went till the final, so we'll see how that's going to work. But for me, the biggest worry is that usually, not always, but usually the team that wins it all tends to lose at least one game. well, not at least, but one game in the tournament. They tend to lose one game in the tournament. And unfortunately for Arsenal, we are in a situation where we cannot afford to lose any games, because if we lose, we're out. If we lose, we lose. So unless Arsenal are going to do an invincible run, basically, I don't see it happening. And at the moment, looking at the other side against Bayern Munich, against PSG, yeah, it definitely is not that great. Let's just put it that way. Big up Hendon. Big up, big up, big up, big up. Oh, actually, Palace 1-0 up. Yeah. Palace 1-0 up against Shakhtar in Conference League. Yeah. Quick goal by Ismail Sarr from Matera, and it's 1-0. It's going to be interesting to see how that's going to happen. Definitely. Big up Mohammed. Big up. Well, apparently the rules are different, as they looked so soft by the pen, but they both played for a draw. Yeah, definitely. They both played for a draw. It was a penalty on a soft side, but it still was a penalty. And obviously, yes, the Champions League has different rules to Premier League, penalty rules, handball rules, everything. And speaking of handball, right? How shocking was Ben White yesterday? Seriously, how shocking was Ben White yesterday? He was a massive liability countless times. And I'm very worried that even if we somehow get past Atletico Madrid at the Emirates in the final against Douai, against Barcola, against Kvaratskhelia, against Diaz, it's going to be a whole massive nightmare. I'm very worried about that if that happens. So it's going to be interesting to see how that unfolds over time. If the referee has to watch the video 13 times and VAR use was not for clear and obvious error by the referee, yeah. And that is the thing. It wasn't like he watched it 1-2 times to kind of either to make a final decision in favor of Arsenal or to basically deny it. Let's just put it that way. Let's just cancel the penalty. But overall, it took way too long. He looked at it way too many times. Simeone also out of the box and screaming at him and everything. Definitely feels like we got robbed there. Obviously, before that, Lookman could have scored. Griezmann hit the bar and everything. Raya had to make a great save. So by that time, we could have been 3-4-1 down. Let's be real. Let's not say like it was be all end all. At the same time, definitely it's a bit of a rough one. Definitely it's a tough pill to swallow. Let's just put it that way. Odegaard are going to go to hell like Top Gunners did with Gyökeres. Yeah, Odegaard is not going to get the hell. The talk is not there. The talk is not there. The same as Gyökeres. By the way, did you see how Gyökeres passed it to Odegaard and Odegaard screwed up the chance? Odegaard never passes to Gyökeres in those type of situations. And nobody's mentioning that. Nobody's mentioning the great pass by Gyökeres to Odegaard and Odegaard fluffing the lines and fluffing the chance. If it was the other way around, let's be real, everyone was in awe and everyone would be screaming on top of their lungs that Gyökeres should be sold. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Why Arsenal players slowing down the game? I have no idea. Everyone is slowing down the game every single time. It's not like we are going straight for the dagger, for the kill instantly. We slow down the play, we recycle the ball, we somehow get past the halfway line, then we pass it backwards to the goalkeeper. We let the opposing team sell back in defense. Everyone get their positions, start to play their defensive tactics, and it is definitely absolutely pissing me off every single time I watch Arsenal play. Yeah, what a damning increment of art. Imagine if Emery wins a trophy, by the way. Can you imagine the scenes? Yeah, if Lookman was a bit more clinical, if Griezmann's shot was a bit more... let's be real, it could have been 4-1. At the same time, if they give that penalty, Arsenal win. If Madueke's shot was a bit more to the right as well, didn't look like Oblak had it covered, so it could have gone either way. But those are all our what-ifs. And if that penalty decision at the end of this round, after this semi-final, is the biggest talking point why Arsenal, for example, did not go through, then it's going to be a massive issue, obviously. Still, there is 90 minutes to play. Arsenal can still do the job. The game is at the Emirates, so we can definitely do it. The issue is it's still Simeone. It's still Atletico Madrid. We will have to wait and see what's happening with Julian Alvarez, because that definitely also didn't look great for Atleti, but overall, I was very surprised that Simeone didn't use Sorloth yesterday. I was very surprised because if Sorloth plays, I think he scores yesterday. based on how disorganized at times we look defensively, and the panic and the nerves, I was very shocked because that would be prime time for Sorloth. We are so lucky Lukman forgot his shooting boots. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Lukman, Griezmann, everyone. We were very lucky. Very lucky. And at the same time, we were very unlucky, to be honest. Arsenal were effectively playing with 7 outfield players as Odegaard, Zubimendi, and Madueke were piss poor. Yeah. Zubimendi was shocking. Odegaard, the less said than Baron Madueke. Well, besides that shot that went about, like, I don't know, even about 5-10 feet past the post, did absolutely nothing. Did absolutely nothing. And those are the guys that are basically are leading our team or are saving our team off the bench. You want to tell me Max Dauman could not have played? For example, like, come on. I mean, that's actually insane. I feel like they will cook us in the second half. Well, yeah, because like Arsenal cannot string two halves together, and that is the biggest worry because when we had the first half, it was and everything, and we went into it with being 1-0 up. I was very worried that Arsenal were going to park the bus, right? And Arsenal will not be able to sustain this. They will again fall. There will be there again will be issues. Something's gonna happen and everything, and it obviously happened. And that's kind of like the signature situation with Arsenal. The subs made almost no sense, to be honest, for me with Mikel Arteta. Besides maybe Mosquera for Ben White. Otherwise, the subs made no sense as well. Ben White, it's time to learn Arabic. Yeah, it's time to either keep English, go to like, I don't know, Everton or something like that. Or yeah, for Arsenal, definitely it's time to go. I can't be too critical of Ben White as his body is cracked. True. But Arteta has ground down the squad into sawdust that he has no choice but to play an unfit Ben White. Exactly. Obviously, Ben White is gonna be painted as one of the issues against Atletico Madrid without shadow of a doubt. Because let's be real, he did not have a very good game. He had bang average at best game. The issue with that is the subs that Mikel Arteta made didn't help also one single bit. Those were useless subs. Jesus did nothing. Trossard did nothing. Eze slowly grew into the game, but by the time he had properly grown into the game, well, it was full time, so he didn't get a chance to prove himself. So yeah, and Mosquera came on, and it definitely was not great. And that for me right now is the biggest worry because in the second leg, Simeone will figure out how to exploit the issues with Ben White, how to exploit issues even if Mosquera plays. He will figure out how to overrun midfield when Zubimendi is in there because he already did that. Unless if Rice didn't have that such of a great first half, yeah, we could have been in world of trouble, to say the least. We could have been in world of trouble. Spoke to one of the top Gunners, said that AFTV have no influence on the decision in sacking a manager. Didn't he see Emery? He's winning a cup this season. They're playing now. Yeah, exactly. Like, if you want to tell me that AFTV has no allegiances to the club and they have no influence on the club, they do. Like, no shadow of a doubt. They are the biggest platform, so to speak, for Arsenal fans. Kinda. Let's be real. They are. And they influence a lot. They influence the rest of the fan base to a very high degree, a part of the fan base, let's just put it that way. And that obviously then Arsenal media team gathered that information. It reflects to the team. It gets passed on to the hierarchy. And, well, it's a chain reaction. It's a chain link at the end of the day. Massive chain link. Also saying it's not an investment. People pay good money. Exactly. Oh, Gyökeres has the hold the playoff. He's the exactly. Top Gunners can hold that expeditiously. Gyökeres' penalty, fantastic. 19 goals in all competitions, fantastic. Despite getting sabotaged and playing not in a system suited for him. Like Trossard has like 1 goal, Havertz has like 2-3 goals, Odegaard has 1 goal. Like, make that make sense. Why are they not an issue? But specifically, Gyökeres is who has 19 goals in all and this. Ben is among the players up for sale. He better be. Let's just put it that way. He better be up for sale. We play for the 1-0 win. We aren't winning with Fulham and West Ham as we saw. as we saw against Newcastle. This game against Fulham, it's gonna be hell on earth. Even though it's at Emirates, let's be real, Fulham are fighting for Europe. Fulham is one of those teams we tend to struggle against. They tend to play very good against us, and they have less issues breaking us down, and we struggle to score against them. So, game against Fulham definitely is gonna be one of those games that, to a degree, in a specific matter, is gonna be harder than this game against Atletico Madrid. Every top gunner owe him an apology. 100%. Exactly. Everyone and all this stuff. But hey, they're not going to give apologies. We don't hear apologies for when we get called deluded and stupid and plastic fans after when we get proven even right. They don't come back and ask for apologies. They find new narratives, they move the goalpost, and they move further. Yep. As well, Zubimendi wasn't great at all, and he also didn't get subbed off. Yeah. Exactly. The subs were useless as well. Trossard gave the ball away the moment he came on the nearly scored. Yeah. Trossard was useless. Jesus was useless. As I said, as they grew into the game, Mosquera and it is what it is. And who was the other one who came on? Did we use all 5 subs? I forgot now. As they came on, Trossard. Oh, Saka came on. Saka as well. Like, come on, man. What are we doing here? Saka as well is washed. Saka as well. It was shocking to watch Bukayo Saka. 300 grand a week for what he did there. Saka, that one moment in the game, Saka basically did a Madueke. He took an opponent, sat him on his ass, got past him, and then pulled a cross where, well, let's be real, it went almost for a throw-in on the other side of the pitch. That is signature Madueke move. Like, it's not looking great at all. It's definitely not looking great at all. Trossard hasn't scored into... Yep. He hates Gyökeres, doesn't want him to shine anytime he does got good. Like, that for me is a worry. Also, people say Gyökeres for not doing anything when he was subbed on last game after 85 minutes. It's silence on Jesus being a ghost over 40 minutes on the pitch. Exactly. What can you expect Gyökeres to do in 5 minutes? Like, serious talk. You come into a game in a against tough opposition. Let's be real. What can you expect him to do when he gets no service, no support, and he's stranded there alone like on a deserted island? What can you expect him to do? I lost brain cells arguing with that top Gunners. He's like, just be positive. I have good vibe. I'm like, you're blind. Yeah, it's like the blind leading blind. Exactly. Blind leading blind. And I don't know where it's all coming from, where everything is rising like that, but it's not great at all. It's definitely not great at all. I forgot Jesus actually came on the pitch. Exactly. We effectively felt like we were playing with like 8 men because Jesus did nothing. Trossard did nothing. Saka, well, let's just not even go there and everything. Did y'all notice that when Gyökeres came off, that Atletico attacked more and took more influence in the game? Gyökeres ties. Exactly. And the nuts part is Mikel Arteta made that triple substitution, right? And where is it? Let me quickly check. So he made that triple substitution, right? He took off Martinelli, Madueke, and Gyökeres, and he subbed on Trossard, Saka, and Jesus. Now, if you look at the players he took off, Martinelli, Madueke, and Gyökeres, 3 runners on the pitch that press forwards and press backwards, and they run a lot. He put on 3 more technical, so to speak, players, Trossard, Saka, and Gabriel Jesus. Did this game ask for more technical players? Because when I was watching the game, it didn't ask, at least in my opinion, it was not asking to sub on player like Trossard or Jesus or someone like that. We needed the runners on the pitch to press from the front line and to tie up defense and to press into certain areas. And Madueke, Martinelli, and Gyökeres were doing that just fine. Yes, Martinelli and Madueke going forward, it is what it is. Let's just not talk about that specifically right now. But we took off 3 runners, 3 pressure cookers, and we put on 3 limp salads. Saka is a Sir Limsalot by default. Jesus is Joga Nonito. And, well, Trossard, it was still our drunk Trossard once again. So he absolutely annihilated that. He absolutely took away. Arteta with that triple substitution took away momentum. Any momentum what we had and potentially could have had away from Arsenal, and turned the game to a degree in Atletico Madrid's favor. If the first half was more or less spot on, so to speak, second half was absolute disaster. Saka was limping. Yeah, Saka is limping on the pitch. He's not fully fit. He's rushed back as always. Absolutely. Go back and watch the first 20 minutes. Gyökeres was double marked. Yeah, Gyökeres is always double marked. Pretty much always. Because it's very hard to handle him. Talk about Madueke's behavior, bro. It is what it is. Big up, Revolutionary Pod. Big up. I've always backed Gyökeres, but the entire rest of the fan base want him gone. I don't know. I'm not in that entire rest of the fan base bunch, by the way. I don't want him gone. I don't want him gone. I much rather sell Havertz, Jesus, and somebody else and keep Gyökeres. Just do that. I might as well keep Martinelli. If Gyökeres gets injured, put Martinelli as a 9. I don't want to see Gyökeres go at all whatsoever. But hey, Arsenal fan base, big part of Arsenal's fan base is making out as Gyökeres is the biggest problem at the club. Somehow. A guy who is our top goal scorer in all competitions with 19 goals, who has the most goals in Premier League by any Arsenal player, and they don't look at Trossard, who hasn't scored this year in Premier League in 2026. Like he has, Odegaard has 1 goal, Havertz has 3, I think. Trossard has 2 or 3, and Martinelli again. Come on, man, what are we doing here? It's actually insane. The favoritism of Arteta's precious childs is actually insane. Gyökeres supported to play. Supposed, yeah, he should have. Big up, Dana Potts. Big up. How we're doing this beautiful day? How are we feeling this beautiful day? Hope you and your family, everything is fine. Everything is great this beautiful, what day is it? Thursday. And hope you're in a good mood. Health is fine. Everything's great. It feels like that, I should say. It feels like that, definitely. But it feels like that because it's a very vocal bunch of top gooners that want Gyökeres gone. And it's actually insane that as soon as that talk started to come out, half an hour later on social media, Berto was in Galatasaray to talk about maybe selling Gyökeres and getting Osimhen. It doesn't start out of nowhere. They always need this crap. 100%. How is Havertz getting a new deal, by the way? How is that even a thing? Where have we seen that, by the way? Where have we seen that? Where is it? Leah Williamson, Arsenal's captain of the women's team, has signed a new deal, which is great news for Arsenal women's team. By the way, big up Arsenal women's team. They are almost in the final. They just need to win as well in Lyon, so we'll see. Is there anything about Havertz? I don't think so. I genuinely don't think so. Who do you start for the return leg in the Emirates? Well, that's going to be in the preview show, but obviously Raya, Saliba, Gabriel, Hincapié. Wouldn't mind seeing Norgard, Declan Rice. By the way, speaking of Declan Rice, while I'm on topic right here, the first half, it was really nice to see Declan Rice sitting more back, playing in his natural 6th position, and Zubimendi as an 8 pushing up more in the 10 spot. It was really nice, and it worked like a charm. Somehow, for second half, it absolutely disappeared. Go figure, right? Absolutely go figure. But yeah, Rice, Eze in the 10, Dauman on the right, Gyökeres up top. Well, on left wing, there are not many options, but I would go with Martinelli. His contract is running down. If he stays, they'll offer him a new deal. Wait, hold on. Havertz's contract is running down. Is it that time already? His contract runs out in June 30th, 2028. So 2 years. Havertz has 2 years left at this club. Best case scenario, unless we sell him. Yeah, I don't want to see him stay. I've been gardening all day. Oh, that's amazing. Fantastic day. Gardening, make everything nice and pretty outside. The flowers, the fruit and everything. The crops. Clear your head, clear your mind. Nice weather outside and finishing the day off with a nice, relaxing Prosecco. Fantastic day, to be honest. Big up. Living the high life, I see. The Havertz extension was mooted earlier in the year before he got injured again. Yeah, there was something. Yeah, I remember that earlier in the year, there was something about Havertz getting a new deal, potentially. Just like Jesus, which was even more nuts. And yeah, Arteta's talk of a new deal started already in like October, so go figure. I reckon it hinges on whether we sell Kai in the summer. I think so. Although no. Like, I think we're going to do our best to try and sell him. Because only way we can re-sign Kai Havertz is give him bigger salary. And that means he's going to be the highest paid player at the club. He already is on 285 grand a week. If we have to put him on like 300 plus, bro, might as well fold the club, because financially that would be an absolute sheer disaster, to say the least. Yeah, Zubimendi was not great. He was bad. And somehow Norgard, Skelly get benched and don't play at all. Make it make sense. Zubimendi is too lightweight for tough games. He also panics under pressure and reverts to default pass backwards mode. Yeah, exactly. We said that in summer when we just signed him. We said that he is not going to be Thomas Partey's replacement. He's too weak. He's going to panic. He's gonna pass sideways too much, like he did for Real Sociedad many times, and he's gonna cost us points. And here we go. Fast forward, like how many months right now? 4, 5, 9 months. If I speak, I'm in big trouble. 285 a week for how many games in the last 2 years? Yeah, it's not looking great, is it? Definitely not looking great. Arsenal's wage bill alone is absolute sheer disaster, in my opinion. I don't know how you feel about Arsenal's wage bill, but for me personally, it's an utter sheer disaster. Let's just put it that way. Like, look at these numbers. Look at these numbers. Havertz is on 280. Jesus is on 265. Look at this. Havertz, Jesus, and Odegaard. The three stooges, right? They three combined a week, in 1 week, cost Arsenal £785,000. £750,000. And if you look at overall salary and look at the bonus payments as well, Havertz gets 2.6 million per year in bonuses. Jesus gets 3.5 million in bonuses. And Odegaard gets 3.1 million in bonuses. And if you add it up total per year, by the way, we pay those three stooges 50 million a year. 50 million a year we pay those three stooges. Make that make sense. What have they done? Seriously, what have they done? Nelly on insane money for someone his age. Yet Martinelli, for his output, is absolutely on madness of a money. It's like the 22-23 contract, like performances. Look even at Trossard. Last summer, we didn't even sign him on a longer deal. We just gave him more money just because. By the way, we just gave him money just because. And he's on the same money, by the way. 180. It gets worse, to be honest. Look at this. It gets actually worse to a degree. Because somehow Madueke and Ben White are earning the same amount as Gabriel Magalhaes. In which universe, arguably, well, not arguably, our best defender in the team, Gabriel Magalhaes, so to speak, 150 grand a week. He gets half what basically Havertz gets and Saka gets. Half. And he gets less than Martinelli, than Odegaard, than Trossard, and all these guys. Make that make any sense to me? Make that make any sense to me? Then obviously you have like your Madueke on the same money, Merino 130, Calafiori 120. For example, Yuri and Timba, 90 grand a week. Zubimendi 75, Mosquera 55, Kepis on 65, Vanieri on 40, allegedly. Miss Nelson, Ishmael Copley, like we don't care about those yet. Let's just put it that way. Who else is paying Nelly nearly 200 grand a week? Saudis, maybe. Maybe Saudis. Best case scenario. The wage bill is a problem. They need to be ruthless and start selling underperformers. Yeah. Cut the losses in terms of ROI, in terms of getting money back for what you have paid for those players, and move on. Because there is no other way you are going to recoup 65 million for Havertz. No other way. Yes, you will make profit on Martinelli because there's no chance in hell we're going to sell Martinelli for less than 7 million. We're going to sell him for about 30, most likely 40. So we're going to make profit on that over, in the last 6 years. Let's just put it that, even 8 years, to be honest. Right? So ultimately, on Odegaard, most likely we will make some profit. Not big, but some sort of a profit if we would sell him. Ben White, we're going to lose money. Nobody's paying 50 million for Ben White. Who else is there? Jesus, 45 million. Nobody's giving him that type of wage. He bigger chance than not is going to leave for free. So it's not looking great. But at some point, to move forwards, you have to take a loss. You have to take a hit. And in business, unfortunately, it happens more often than you think. So at the end of the day, for Arsenal, maybe to grow and become better and move forward in a more positive light, you have to take the hit. You have to take the goddamn hit. Arsenal's estimated weekly wage bill for the men's first team players in 25-26 season is 3.4 million weekly, based on an annual estimate of 3.48 million weekly. That's just weekly, and 181.5 million a year. That's only the wages, not including the bonuses. I assume so. So that already is a massive, massive, massive problem. And let's be real. Havertz, and we just talked about this, Havertz, Jesus, and Odegaard are getting 50 million of the 181.5 million a week. Havertz, Jesus, and Odegaard, a year, are getting 50 million combined of the 181.5 million we pay in the wages every year. Well, this year. They're getting 1/4. Like, is that logical? No chance in hell. Kronk is, we'll see. We'll see. It is criminal. Timber and Roy on less than Noni as well. Yeah, exactly. It's actually insane. Therefore, need to cut our losses with some of these guys like we did with Tommy. Yeah, we need to cut losses like we did with some players. And at the moment, like, it's the nuts part. When Arteta came in, him and Edu sold us the dream and the idea that we have so many players that are overpaid, not good enough. We need to get rid of them and start over, right? Fair dues, they did that. Unfortunately, they did that with certain players. They shouldn't have done it, but they did it. And right now, if you look at the same situation, we are in the same boat. Once again, the issue is it's actually much worse because the players that are overpaid, that are not good enough, are not just slightly or a bit overpaid. They are heavily overpaid. And that is going to be a massive problem long term if we don't resolve this issue. Well, I'm going to go line right now, so to speak. Big up Eros. Big up Eros. Mikkel music in the building. Big up Eros. Hope you're doing well. Hit the likes, people, and subscribe if you haven't already as well. We didn't get rid of Jesus and Havas, dude. They didn't do it. Well, I hope we do get rid of them. Will we see that? Will we see that happening? No idea. Both of them are 500 a week for doing it. Well, to be honest, it's 550, 280 and 265. It's almost 550 a week. Yeah, and they basically do nothing at the moment. They all are injured and or when they play, well, the less said than better. Let's just put it that way. Definitely overpaid players. And then you look at other teams where there are players who basically get 1/10 of that wage. They're not on 280, but they'll get like 30 grand, and they're performing 10 times better than them on the pitch. Like, it's actually wild. It is actually wild. Exactly, yeah. And if you add Odegaard to the list, by the way, it's 700. It's almost 800 grand a week. 800 grand a week if you add Odegaard to the list. It's actually wild. And if you add the bonuses, it's like 820 grand a week, something like that. It's actually mental. Absolutely mental how much we pay a week to 3 bums that are taking pretty much a quarter of our overall club salary. Breathtaking business, yeah. Fantastic. That's the other problem. People like Ryan Gabriel are going to want more money to tie them up properly, yeah. And by the way, didn't we just re-sign Gabriel in like summer or September or something like that? And that is his pay increase from 100 to 150 grand a week, when Saliba went from like what 140 to or 180 to 280. And Gabriel is arguably on the most, if not the most important player in the team, defensively at least. And he gets paid a fraction of what the other bums are getting who basically do nothing. 1 million a week if you add Noni, yeah. It's actually like Noni or 150k a week. I still can't believe it. Yeah, it's mental how much money we waste. And the nuts part is we actually make profit as a club. We are a profitable business overall. Overall, we are a profitable business. If you look at all the commercial deals, merch deals, sponsorships, TV revenue, ticket sales, revenue from the competitions, we actually are in profits by now. Like, despite all this money wasted on salaries, that's actually insane. Berta will have to do something. He can fix this mess. Let's be real. Big up Christopher. Who said Dauman is shit? First things first. Who said that? I'm not gonna take any Max Dauman slander on this channel at all. At all. None whatsoever. If you don't like Max Dauman, keep it to yourself and leave. Because I'm not gonna take any slander on this channel at all. We are profitable so long as we keep deep. Yeah, as long as we go deep in Champions League, we are profitable. Because how much do we get for getting to semifinals of Champions League? Like 90 million, something like that. If that stops, we're screwed, just like Chelsea are. Yeah. Wait, how much? How much money? Arsenal have earned 88 million pounds so far in the Champions League this season. if I'm not mistaken. Arsenal. Oh, never mind. Never mind. That was the wrong data. Arsenal currently, if they go through to semi-finals, right? Arsenal currently have earned 119 million pounds from Champions League. 100 million pounds from Champions League. If they get to the final, it's gonna rise more. Not to mention if they win it, obviously. So, yeah. By the way, did anyone see this before the game? Did anyone see this before the game? It's one of those things that, again, Arsenal are the stuff that keeps on giving, by the way. Arsenal's ground staff were unhappy with the length of the grass on the pitch at Atletico Madrid Stadium and requested a pitch inspection from the UEFA before the game. This was the stuff I was reading before the game, by the way. How insane is that? Can Arsenal just relax sometimes? Can they actually be somewhat serious in this club? Is that this season? No, this is only this season. It is just this season. 100 plus million already, and it can rise. Last year, it was 88 or 89 million we made from Champions League for getting to semi-finals. That was last year. This year, it is more, by 20 million already. I saw that about the grass. It's insane. Atletico have history of complaints. I've researched this. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Barcelona always complain when they play them in La Liga as well about something. Surprised they didn't complain that the thunderstorm put them off. That was why they didn't score more goals. You know, go figure. Go figure. Anyways, I want to ask your opinion, since people you are here. Penalty or no penalty? Serious talk. Penalty or no penalty for you? Because you know my opinion on this. For me, that is a penalty, and the penny stops drops there, and that's about it. Because, like, come on, what are we doing here? Big up JT. Big up JT. Penalty, 100%. Stonewall penalty. Obviously a penalty. See? So let me ask you this then. Why do you think it wasn't given? Like, that for me is the biggest thing. Why it was not given as a penalty? Then. He does stand on his foot, but if the ref gives it, it had to be taken. If not sure, then don't give. But refer to VAR. Yeah, but the VAR check as well took about 60 years. He watched the replay about 50 million times. Obviously, it's a very 50-50, not 50-50, but it's a very important decision, right? At the same time, Eze also looked like he slipped a tiny bit, but that cannot be an excuse. For me, the biggest worry is the fact that this one decision arguably could influence the whole round. Like, if you look at it that way, it could be the sole reason Arsenal don't go through. And obviously, then this one decision will be looked at, will be discussed like no tomorrow everywhere. But even for me, it's a penalty, but it's also a bit of a, I don't want to say soft penalty, but it's, I don't know, a softy type of penalty as well, because we've seen penalties not being given for harsher tackles in Champions League, obviously, because the rules are a bit different. Also, at the same time, we have seen penalties for much softer challenges. So that middle ground is a very big gray area. Let's just put it that way. From what I understand, the middle ground's a very gray area. Maybe there was not enough contact or something, but go figure. Ref Baldi to crowd pressure and Simeone's pressure, you think? Even if it wasn't enough contact, it's not clear and obvious error for VAR to intervene. True. It's not a penalty because that's what the ref's decision. No. Thank you, Michael Owen. He stamped on his ankle, blatant penalty. Dangerous game, that, because next time that happens to you, Arsenal fans will say the same. That is the biggest thing, because it also happens in Premier League. And that with Premier League is one of the most aggravating things overall with the PGMOL and referees. Obviously, we don't talk much about referees on this channel at all. But in Premier League, it's a very, very obvious and straightforward thing in terms of you can have the same tackle, copy-paste scenario in the box, and one time it's a penalty, other time it's not a foul, next time it's a red or it's a yellow for diving and stuff like that, and there is zero consistency. And even in Champions League, these type of tackles in the league stage were given, and even softer ones were given, and it just doesn't connect. The dots are not connecting, let's just put it that way. Maybe as a wrapping leg, and even if there wasn't enough contact, Hanko missed the ball and blocked Eze. Yeah, exactly, and he kicked him in the leg as well. A foul is a foul. Yeah, exactly. Foul technically should be a gray area, not clear and obvious error for VAR to intervene. Yeah, go figure. If Arsenal have to rely on a penalty to get through, we are not good enough. True. At the same time, it's 100% fact. If that is the case. At the same time, let's be real. Before that penalty, we could have conceded about 2-3 goals from Lookman, from Griezmann, who hit the bar. Like, the tie actually could have been over if Atletico Madrid had their shooting boots on. This penalty could have been quite irrelevant. But right now, looking at right now in hindsight, because hindsight is a beautiful thing and everyone's smart after the war, so to speak, obviously, this is now going to be on the hot talking points until we play them in the second round at Emirates next week. So this is the biggest buzzword in 2026. Well, 100%. Obviously, it's exaggerated, but every player does. If exaggeration means no penalty given, 90% the pens wouldn't be given. Exactly, 100%. It doesn't matter if it's soft. He stamped on his ankle. Yeah, he did. He kicked him in the leg and stamped on his foot, like one motion type of thing, like continuous motion. Don't forget also the Gyökeres penalty. That is as clear as day. He shouldn't have been sent off at the first place. Well, it's the double jeopardy rules and all this stuff, isn't it? We should not have got involved as it was not clear or obvious error. Yeah, it wasn't. Obviously, apparently VAR double checks every single big decision, allegedly. And by the looks of things, that is the case. But VAR should not be intervening to such an extent that on-pitch decision gets influenced so hard to such a degree. It gets influenced so hard that referee basically starts to question himself. Because the more you look at the replay, as the referee did more and more, the more you start questioning your decision, the more you start questioning what you are seeing, and the more you start questioning the circumstances at the end of the day. And in the end, well, it got overturned. Then the ref have to watch the live VAR call. Yeah, exactly. He watched it quite a bit of times. So things can be true. We suck, but also we were robbed. That is the ironic part in this. We sucked, but we got robbed as well. Because we could have lost, we could have won. I know it sounds very obvious, but that was the case yesterday. We could have been 1-0 up after 50 minutes if Odegaard pulls the trigger earlier. Well, if he could pull finger out of his ass, maybe. And it's beyond me how Simeone wasn't sent off as well. Yeah, exactly. I see managers getting sent off for nothing, but Simeone screams in the face and the ref and gets away with it. Yeah, with Simeone, I don't know if there's some specific bubble he has around him that he doesn't get touched in that regard. VAR does check everything, but they should contact the ref only if it's clear and obvious error on his side. Yeah, they should, when it's clear and obvious error, so he goes double check. But it wasn't a clear and obvious error. Let's be real. It is a penalty. So the more, obviously, as I said, the more ref is looking at the penalty in the replay, the more he starts to question his decision. When the ref reviews the incident on the monitor, VAR is communicating with him, and that itself can sway his decision. Exactly. It should be impartial, but it's not that impartial, is it? It isn't impartial at all. That is the nuts part. In my opinion, the moment the ref gets to call to the screen, the mentally switch off and overturn, and that is the case many times, isn't it? Most of the time, like 90% of the time, I know it's a bit of over exaggerated percentage, but you'll get the point. Most of the time, when referee goes to the camera to rewatch the incident, the call gets overturned. Isn't that the case? Have you not noticed it? Most of the time, when referee makes an on-pitch decision and VAR intervenes with it, and the ref has to go to watch it on the replay, most of the time it gets overturned. Like, it's actually nuts. Not enough contact is subjective. It can be soft. Exactly. Not enough contact is a very, very like vague statement. Yeah, exactly. Oh, that is true as well. 100%. Let's remember Madueke got a lucky penalty against Leverkusen to help snatch the draw there at the death. So I suppose this levels things up. Well, technically, yes. Like karma is a bitch, so to speak, obviously. But hey, the universe has a way of selling the score up any given time. So we'll see. We'll see. One thing I wanted to talk about, and I have an absolute screamer of a quote here, and it's gonna be a nuts one. Trust me. We're gonna read this through and let's see what you think. It's becoming a thing where if I hear it's going to the screen, I know it's going to be overturned. Yes, same. Like that is the most annoying part. At the same time, if it's for Arsenal, I get kind of excited. Like the fan stuff, obviously, the fan kicks in. If he gets caught, the monitor, he already goes into it with the mindset that he made the wrong decision. Have some balls. Exactly. Stick by your point. Stick by your decision. Disappointed the pen was overturned. I blame Arteta. Yeah. To be honest, okay, I don't blame Arteta. The decision was overturned, but Arteta definitely flubbed the second half. And obviously, for Arsenal, we cannot play two good halves in a row. We have to play one good, one bad, and that is the biggest issue. Anyways, Leo da Silva, right? He made a post regarding Zubimendi because somebody quoted and said Zubimendi has had more better games than Rice in the last 5 matches. The last 5 matches, that was on April 27th. Rice is the one now looking like a passenger. So it baffles me to see that the Silva still criticizes him. I just feel a lot of person just have personal issues with the player because he picked up these few games. And here is what he said. Here is what he said. I feel many of you don't understand our football. When we had Granit Xhaka and Thomas Partey, both of them picked balls up from keeper, one sat and one attacked. Xhaka gave balls constantly to Martinelli, Partey to Saka. This season, Zubimendi panics in vital games and moments, which makes the entire team panic. He lost possession in 20 seconds if Newcastle scores. There is no guarantee we win. We barely do come back as a team. Rice has to step in to do his job. And Odegaard has to do the same. He's Spanish. He has not turned once in possession to beat the press. Nobody trusts him to, and not even Arteta trusts him to. One mistake at United and he changed his role. We have not been fluid attacking since United beat us, and this is because Rice has had to do his job and Zubimendi is together. And this is absolute sheer goddamn fact. His fatigue could be from that. Not like I am defending his performances. Our midfielders have been total rubbish. That is also true. For how much Zubimendi runs, he should affect the game more, but it seems it's all for looking busy. Sounds like Odegaard and Zubimendi doing the same thing. But Xhaka is currently playing at Sunderland. Zubi can't. He will always get my criticism. He needs to prove me wrong. I watched us have midfielders like, and here we go. Patrick Vieira, Kleb, Nasri, Fabregas, Cazorla. I know the standard of a press-resistant midfielder. He's nowhere near currently, but we are supporting him. I'm not an idol worshipper. I criticize every player for not giving their best. And to be honest, this quote alone, I fully and utterly agree with. This is sheer, pure, utter facts from the Silva, in my opinion. Absolute fact regarding Zubimendi and how Declan Rice has to cover his ass. He needs to do a double job, and that's why he looks so gassed every single time. And right now, he's basically at the breaking point, if not broken already. Let's just put it that way. He's a hyper Chelsea fan or something along the lines. Zubimendi, another player we wasted money on. Yeah, in my opinion, we did. In my opinion, people definitely play favorites. Some people will never criticize Rice, even if he played the worst game ever. That is the case at Arsenal. Arsenal, this fan base has this thing called favoritism, where their favorite player can do no wrong. That's why Saka doesn't get the criticism. Odegaard, Havertz, they all get the praise, but they never get the criticism. As soon as Gyökeres missed one pass, everyone's ready to sell him, right? When Odegaard didn't pass to Gyökeres against Newcastle, nobody cared. Right, yesterday, Gyökeres passed to Odegaard in a brilliant position to score. Everyone says, well, Odegaard didn't score, better luck next time. Nobody's calling out those things. Everyone's just overlooking it. But Jack is not... I think he meant more 8 at Arsenal than Sunderland. It's not as much Sunderland, but more about Arsenal in general. Zubimendi deserves so much criticism, but he plays favorites with the likes of Odegaard, but it's on to Zubimendi. It's on to everyone, to be honest. It's on to everyone. For me personally, I have no favorite players in this club. It's not like Henry, Bergkamp, Ian Wright, and players like that. Nowhere close. And it's not going to be. At least for now, definitely, looking at this team. If I get the Arsenal shirt, I get nobody on the back. I don't even get a number on the back many times, right? So for me, everyone's up for criticism and everyone's up for praise. You get criticized if you need to be criticized. You get praised if you need to get praised. In my opinion, obviously, it's all subjective at the end of the day, isn't it? Rice is worth over 100 million plus if he plays his natural position, not 8. Yeah, Declan Rice played yesterday in the 6. Did you notice that, by the way, Ross? He dropped down into the 6, and Zubimendi pushed up into 8 and 10. And we looked very, very fluid in that regard. I've been told I'm a hater because I've been saying I can't defend Saka if he's not getting a GA. Exactly. Saka's performances in general, even before the injury, were not great, to be honest, many times. But he still decided, despite that, got GA. And that's what carried us over the line. But that didn't stop us from criticizing him. At the same time, if you do that, oh, you're toxic and negative, look at his GA. Everyone's looking at GA, but not the performances. Because obviously, GA wins you games most of the time. But performances are very important as well. I said back in January 25, when it was announced Arsenal were signing him, that he was too lightweight. Yeah, exactly. Liga and also said he wasn't good enough after seeing him in La Liga. Yeah, he was not good enough. And Top Gooners in summer were screaming like he's the best Thomas Partey replacement in the world. Nowhere in hell, nowhere close, and no chance in hell. I think Zubimendi has potential. He deserves to hold way more bench and actually work for his spot, but there is like 5 more players that need to hold it before him. Yeah, that is also a fact. Absolute facts as well. There are quite a few that, to be honest, some of those players don't need even to hold the bench. They need to just get sold. He was deep in that 6 role, by far our best midfielder yesterday. Yeah, 100%. He was also at center back in the second half. That was one of the weirdest things, but hey, it is what it is. I like Saka's profile as a player, just the numbers issue. At the moment, his performance numbers issue. He actually is a very good player, it's just that Arteta has ruined him with the injuries and overplaying, no changes, no substitutions, and everything. I was calling for Zubimendi to replace Odegaard's role and force him to be more progressive. It hides his flow, and I've seen he can do much better with progressive passes before his fall-off. Yeah, I can. Zubimendi in the 10. Yeah, I can see that. 100% I can see that. Zubimendi in the 10. Yeah. 100%. I can definitely can be on that wavelength without shadow of a doubt. definitely can be on that wavelength without shadow of a doubt regarding Zubimendi and in the being in the at 10. But as well, not long-term solution. Let's just say it as it is, not long-term solution as well. Not really. That's more like a Nate. What the Odegaard did. The Odegaard isn't cleared. Yeah, Odegaard is not an out-and-out 10 as well. That is also true. I'm just curious why, for example, we don't play with 3/8s like we used to. Remember under Arsene Wenger, we used to play with 3 number 8s, like Wilshere, Ramsey, and Cazorla, for example. One was a bit more back, and one was a bit more box-to-box. One was quite a bit more attacking, let's just put it that way. It's a very interesting situation. Obviously, for us, Declan Rice could be that drop back. Zubimendi could be that more forward, and Odegaard as well. It's one of those instances where we talk about these things, what ifs, what could have been, what should be, and all this stuff. But it's only a pipe dream, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's only a pipe dream because I don't see anything much changing until Arteta changes, if that is possible, or Arteta goes at the end of the day. So. Yeah, I think Zubimendi at this point is a rotational player quality, yes, but Partey needed time to adapt and reach his full level as well, so I have time for him too. Absolutely get it. Absolutely get it. Thomas Partey unfortunately got injured quite a bit at Arsenal as well, which is very insane to think about because when he was at Atletico Madrid for about 8 years, he got injured twice. At Arsenal in 3-4 years, he was injured almost constantly, except that one season. And that one season when he was not injured, ironically enough, he was one of the best number 6s in the league. Like Ben White, I can't be too harsh on Saka as his body is also a crock. He will never be the same player before that great. Yeah. It's actually insane because to even showcase how good Saka was before he got that hamstring, right? Saka had 11 assists on November 30th before he got injured, right? He got injured, had a surgery, came back, and still nobody had double-digit assists for Arsenal by that time. Nobody. Just shows alone. Saka was on a course of breaking records, potentially even. Odegaard, it's been 2 seasons. I don't care, even if it's Arteta's fault. I was screaming for Partey for the whole 8 years at Atletico. He was so underrated there already. It is, yeah. I was screaming to sign Fabian Ruiz instead of Merino. I wanted Isco when we signed Odegaard and Maddison as well instead of Odegaard. But different stories. That time is gone, and no, like, let's just put it that way, no stance on dwelling on the past. We just can look more in the future and move forwards and see what happens, because at the moment our main focus is Premier League and Champions League. But depending on where we finish after the season, we're going to do Arsenal keep, loan, sell, and we're going to talk about manager and everything. We're going to reassess the whole season. Injuries play a part, but I feel like the most of the issue that I've seen with him was decision-making, shooting when there is no space. Yeah, I get it. This is about Saka, I assume. Yeah, I absolutely get it. But this issue has become very, very forced and visible. Into what I mean by forced is on the pitch, right? Since he signed that new contract, because he didn't do that as much before, which only leads me to believe, I know it's very conspiracy theory like that, he has some clauses in his contract that he gets extra bonuses for shots or for goals or stuff like that, because he has become quite selfish. He doesn't pass as much, and he shoots in impossible situations even sometimes when he gets the ball on occasion. Give him one more. I can see that. Ideal scenario for Saka and quite a few of these players, even if Martinelli stays and Odegaard stays, right, would be if we got a new manager. Because that would answer so many goddamn questions that we have about how good they can be, or is it Arteta, are the players, or is it the injuries and everything that That would answer pretty much most of the questions. I feel like it's even before the contract, but I guess the contract was on the table since before the season started. Yeah, definitely. The talk that Saka will get a new deal at some point started what, July, June, something like that. I assume it was even signed then, and it just got announced a bit later on. I would also assume that. But this season specifically, it has become a very big issue. Very big issue, and it's also somewhat concerning. Let's just put it that way. It is somewhat concerning because many times Saka has a chance to pass it into open lane, pass it for a shot for somebody else, and he just takes a shot with 5 defenders in front of him, and it just doesn't even get past the first man. So yeah. But yeah, people, I think on that note today, I'm gonna end today's stream. So if you haven't already, smash the likes and subscribe. I'm gonna see you all tomorrow with the full-on preview and all this stuff. I'm gonna redirect you to Shane Gunner's stream. He's doing the react. He has a panel show at the moment. It's Thursday, so Bruce Banana is on. So go check it out. Latvian Gunner right in the chat. So yeah. So yeah, some players might be unlocked by a new manager. Exactly. I think so. They don't have time for a lot of them, no matter what the manager. The damage has been done. 100%. But yeah, people, big up everyone. Latvian Gunner right in the chat in Shane's stream, and I see you all tomorrow. Peace.